What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is it. This is your podcast style format that I've been talking about. It's really more of a vodcast style, but that's okay. Either way, what this does is allow me to just come inside, take a break. You know, it's rainy outside right now. Don't have a lot going on, and that's what this is for. Also, this allows me to get a little more personal with you guys and, talk about some of my past experiences and stuff like that. But tonight, this mainly is going to be focused on the project car. This probably won't be perfect, but that's okay. I'm not perfect. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the project car. So in the last video, if you've not seen that, click right up here and I will explain to you everything that it is that we're planning to do with that car. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about with it is kind of the mindset that goes behind a project car and how mine probably differs from yours. First off though, let's talk about the budget. So I'm just going to shoot you guys straight on the budget. I don't have a ton of money just to throw at this car. So I'm going to have to do, a little here and a little there. The budget is going to be a shoestring budget. When I say shoestring budget, I mean like a couple $100 here and a couple $100 there. We're going to keep this thing super, super simple because I want you guys to be able to do the exact same thing, but it's going to require that you get out there and put in some major muscle on this. This is not something that's going to come easy, but if you want to do something to your car, maybe you have a project and you want to make it happen, I'm going to essentially show you in this series of the project car of how to do that. So the budget for the car is going to be like to get it painted and running under its own power is probably going to be somewhere around $3,000 or so. Don't hold me to that because I'm not sure exactly what it's going to cost to do this, but I do know that. So first off, let's just cover what we have in the car right now and future money. So right now in the car, we have $350 for the car. So if you guys will just hold tight for a second. Sorry guys, I'm going to pull up my calculator here. So as it sits right now, we have $350 in the car. That's what I paid John for it. And the car does have a title, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this. And also, we have $500 in the body kit. Now, that puts us up to $850 right now. And I know some of you are probably thinking, why in the world would you buy a body kit for a car that does not have an engine? It looks like complete hell right now. Well, obviously, I just found a really good deal on a complete kit, or so I thought anyway. As you guys know, if you've watched the video, that it's actually a Celine. They're Celine side skirts for the car. They're not actually Cobra side skirts, so that was a complete oversight on my part. But that's okay. We'll either pick up some later on, or we'll use what we've got. For right now, we're going to go ahead, fit those up on the car, and they will more than likely be painted. We want to keep this as budget as possible. So we're sitting at $850 right now. As most of you guys know, I actually have an engine to go in the car. It's probably not the engine that you want to see in the car or really that I want to see in the car. But it's free and it's a working engine and transmission, so that's probably what we're going to do. So, I'm going to have to put a little bit of money in it, obviously. So if I had to guess, I would probably say, I don't know, $200. Let's just try to keep it shoestring here, okay? $200. That puts us at $1,050 for the engine, transmission, stuff like that. I do have most all the accessories and brackets and stuff like that, so that shouldn't really cost me a lot. I'll probably have to have a new alternator, stuff like that. But for right now, I'm going to throw $200 at it and see how close we can stay to that budget. What's next? Well, we have paint. So this is the deal on the car. I'm not going to tell you the color of the car, but I'll tell you that for 1 gallon of paint, it's going to run about $160. So we know we're going to need a little bit more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and add $200 for paint, for the actual paint. And we'll also go ahead and add $200 for clear and $160 for the primer. Okay. So we're sitting at $1,610. I will have to buy wheels for the car, but we'll go ahead and the wheel situation is not something that has to be done. But if you guys know me, I got to have some wheels for the car. So I tell you what we'll do. I'll go ahead and we'll just add $500 for the wheels, because more than likely I'll find a good set of used tires or something like that. We'll scrimp and save where we can. So at this point, we're at $2,210. It's pretty cheap, guys, and that should get us on the road, give or take a little bit. More than likely, it'll cost a little bit more. So now think about this for a second. I'm sure there's a couple things I'm leaving out. So this is where you have to help one another. You need friends that are also into this, because there's parts around, guys. I have extra parts. I tend to keep my parts. I tend to hold on to my parts because, I'm always doing a project car. But there's a lot of people that'll let go of parts. You can trade work for parts. Maybe you just have a friend that'll just help you out on some stuff. So some of this money obviously would be a lot more if I didn't have my own engine and if I didn't do my own paint work. I mean, you're talking about a car right now that we more than likely can get on the road realistically for $2,500. If you didn't do this work yourself and you sent your car out to have all this work done, I mean, you're talking 10 grand, more than that. Probably 12 grand right now just to get this thing to this point. So this is why it's important to learn these techniques yourself. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking to yourself, I can't paint a car. I never have any intentions of painting a car. I'm not interested in this. And I completely understand that. But I do urge you, if you've ever thought about doing it, to absolutely try it. Give it a try, guys. I mean, I'm going to set up like 2 tents, like butt them up together. And we're going to wrap this thing with bisqueen, and we're going to try to paint this car. There's going to be some wet sanding and buffing going on, trust me, because there's going to be some trash and might even be a run or two. But we're going to make this thing look really good for a very, very small amount of money. All right, so let's talk about the difference in the way I'm going to do my car versus the way pretty much everybody else does their car. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. Most people are going to start stacking parts, right? You're going to order parts and you're going to start stacking them up, and your garage is just going to be full of parts from LMR or American Muscle or wherever it is you're getting your stuff from, right? The problem with that for me, since I don't have just tons of money to just throw out, the problem with that is you tend to get discouraged. So you end up with a bunch of parts in your garage and you're sitting there looking at them and you have thousands of dollars in these parts, but your car still hasn't made any progress. That hurts. And you start thinking to yourself, wow, I have all this money and my car still looks the same as it did. So I tend to not do things that way. I kind of shoot from the hip. Now, a lot of you guys will think that that's probably the wrong way to do it. And, I'm not going to argue with you, because there again, it probably is the wrong way to do it. But I have to play to my strong suit, right? For me, painting a car, straightening out body lines, painting trim, basically just working with hardly anything but making it look good, that's kind of my forte. That's what I do. And I really suggest that you guys try to do the same. Now, if you have unlimited money, then sure, send your car off and go get it painted and your engine put in. You're probably not going to want to watch this video if you're one of those people. But if you're on a budget like I am, I'm telling you guys, it really pays to get out there and do some of this stuff on your own, because it gets extremely expensive trying to pay people to do this type stuff. And a lot of it can just be done right outside in your garage or in the driveway. And that's what we're going to do with this car. So this car is going to be a lot different simply because we're going to initially, like the first thing I would tell you with a project car is to get it running under its own power. That's the first thing that you typically want to do. And it goes back to that whole mindset of, you buy all these parts up and your car's not making any progress. And that's how projects get dumped. And I don't want to do that. So I know for me, if I can get this car to start up and move around under its own power, that means I can move it, from the driveway to the backyard. I can pull it up and wash it. I can pull it in the garage, work on it a little bit, and pull it back around. Even if the damn thing runs hot after running for 10 minutes, if it will start and move under its own power, it's a benefit to you. We're going to do things a little different with this car simply because we're going to paint it first. Plus, with the engine out of the car, that's going to be the time that we're going to need to paint under the engine bay. I want to make the engine bay look really good. So the only way to do that is with the engine out. So while I'm painting the engine bay, I might as well do the door jambs. I might as well do the hatch. I might as well just paint the car. So that's what we're going to do. If, for instance, I do not go the truck engine route. If I'm not able to go that route, then the car will be loaded on a trailer and I will take it to probably like Hunter's house, my dad's house, my mom's house. They all have shops. And if I get myself in a bind, then that's probably where that car will go. And we'll take it over there and get it out of the way for a while. Then we'll just focus back on either the Cobra or the red and silver Fox body. And when we get the money, when we get the time, when we get the engine, then we'll bring the car back over and we'll work on it. So I'm going to be able to do that because I'm not going to have a lot of money in this car. Plus, guys, I'm going to be itching to throw a motor and transmission in this car once it's painted. So, you have a car that's sitting there that's painted, that's ready to go. You're going to do almost anything you can to get an engine transmission in this thing. So that's the game plan anyway. Now that's short term. Okay, let's talk about the fact that we might be putting an old ass non-roller carbureted 302 with a C6 transmission behind it. Let's talk about that for a second, because that is not what most of you guys want to see, and I completely understand. But it goes back to, you have to do what you have to do with your project cars. And if I could just get the car to move under its own power and to be driven, regardless, like I could care less how much power this car makes. It's not going to make a lot of power, I can tell you that now. It's going to be pretty slow. It's going to be very slow. But I can paint the engine. I can clean the engine up. I can make this thing look good. I might even go ahead and put a nice 4-barrel intake and carburetor on it. Like I have some Ford Racing valve covers that one of you guys donated. So thank you so much for that. And we can make this thing look really nice. It just won't have any power. So do I really care? What's important to me? Trying to do like a complete Cobra clone and go get like a fuel injected engine, throw a Cobra intake on it, go back all fuel injected? Or do I just want to get this thing running? Because if I go that route, then it's going to take me a lot longer, obviously, and a lot more money to do that. So, like I said, you have to do whatever it is that makes you happy. For me, I want my car to look good, and I just want to be able to drive it. I just want to be able to like take it to like the service station, and put gas in it, and then just come back home. Like I'm happy with that for a while. Then what we can do later on is really tear into this thing and make it nice. So that's the game plan anyway. Ultimately, I feel like this car is probably going to end up with about $5,000 or $6,000 in it, which is still a very, very, very budget car. But that amount of money is probably going to be over about a year to year and a half time period. You just have to be patient. But the car should be running and driving here in, 3 or 4 months, something like that. We'll see. So that is the project car. Soon to be our Cobra clone, I guess you could say. But let's talk a little bit about passion. That's something that I mentioned to you guys, in the last video that I was going to talk about. And first off, you have to know what passion is. So if I had to describe passion to you, it's that thing that you can't get it out of your head. You can't sleep at night. You wake up thinking about it. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about it. That's passion. Now, passion does not have to be just with cars. It can be, hopefully it's with your family and your friends and your job and other stuff like that. But, what I'm trying to say is you have to, don't ever fight your passion. Never let anybody talk down to you or try to change your mind about what you're passionate about, because that is 100% something that you have to pursue. Being passionate about something, you have to have an outlet. For instance, I am at the moment super passionate about doing this project car. Now, how is it all going to work out? Guys, I don't know. But I have at least got to get out there and get started with this thing. I can't sleep at night. I'm thinking about colors. I'm thinking about wheel combos, what engine, how are we going to get started? And it eats at me, and it's going to eat at me until we get started on this thing. And I know some of you guys feel the same way. And maybe there's somebody in your life that doesn't support that and that doesn't back you on it. Guys, you still have to find a way to make it happen. You still have to pursue your passion, whether it be in your job, whether it be spending more time with your family. I don't care what it is. If you have friends that want to take you out every weekend and do crazy stuff, but you just really want to be home with your family, but maybe they make you feel bad about it, who cares? Don't let anybody in your life bring you down. Do what it is that makes you happy, because ultimately, who are you if you're not happy? Listen, I want to tell you guys I guess it's kind of a funny story now. It was not funny at the time, but about a week ago, I got into PDR. So if you guys don't know what that is, that's paintless dent repair. So, on YouTube, checking stuff out, I ran across some PDR videos and I'm like, that's really cool. I've always thought that it was really neat. It was like magic, the way they work this metal, and they don't mess the paint up. And I'm like, I want to try this. I think I can do this. So I go on Amazon and I order like a $80 kit. Actually, it's a really good kit. And I want to show you guys some of this video at some point once I get a little better at it. But for right now, I'm just going to tell you guys what happened. So I immediately start on the Yukon and I start pulling out dents. And look, guys, it's working great. I'm like, man, this is wonderful. Andrew comes over. We pull a couple dents out of his daily driver. I take some dents out of the Yukon and something else. I can't remember what it was. But, man, everything's going great. Well, the main reason why I got the kit was because my 04 Cobra has a slight door ding at the very bottom of it. So I said, you know what? I think I can do this. I got this. So, you put the glue tabs on and it's got the device, that you squeeze and it pops the dent. So I put a very, very small amount of glue because it's just a slight depression. Put it on there and I go to cranking on this thing and pow, it pops. Well, when it popped, the paint come off with it. Guys, I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to throw the damn thing across the yard, or I wanted to just kick more dents in the car. I mean, I was so upset. I'm like, I cannot believe that this just happened. Well, if I'd have listened, they say pretty much, really you don't need to use it on aftermarket paint. But of course, I didn't really pay attention to that. And there was a chip in the bottom on the inside of that dent. There was a little chip. And whenever I popped it, it just pulled the paint off. So the point is, I have a flake of paint about the size of my thumbnail here that come off the car down to the primer. So I picked this little chip of paint up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like trying to push it to get it back in, and obviously it won't stay. So I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do here? Because this has got to be fixed tonight. I sat back and I thought for a minute, like the chip was perfect. You could put it right back in place right where it come from. So I got lucky there. So I got to thinking about it. I'm like, how can I do this? I said, screw it. You know what? I know how to handle this and we're just going to do this. So what I did was I took some clear coat. I mixed it up with a hardener and everything. And I took a little paintbrush and I dabbed the back side of the chip and on the inside of where the chip come out of on the body of the car. And I took some tweezers and just kind of stuck the chip to the tweezers and pushed it back. So I essentially used the clear coat as glue. Well, I let that sit and, cure up for a little while. And then I come back with the airbrush and first off, I taped out a box around the dent like that, around the chip. And I got my airbrush out and I just kind of fanned some clear coat in there. I put like 3 just good wet coats in and just kind of blended the clear out. Oh, well, I stuck the heater. I had a little portable heater. It was like 50 degrees that night. So I stuck a little portable heater up to the car and turned it on wide open. And took my little temp gun. It was like 120 degrees. I'm like, good, we're money. So I let that thing sit for like an hour and a half, guys. Pulled the tape off everything, and it was hard enough that I could wet sand it. So I blocked this thing out with 1,000 grit and then moved up to 2,000 grit and immediately started the buffing process. I buffed and buffed and buffed on this thing. And guys, in the next video, because I can't take you out there right now, but you can't even see it. Like, I made this happen. And I was so proud of myself because this could be really expensive. Either I'm going to have to sand this thing down, blend everything out, smooth it out, and respray this door and hope that it matches. Or, try to blend some paint in, some base coat, and put some filler. And I said, no, we can make this work. So I was passionate. I said, this is absolutely going to be fixed tonight. I'm not riding around like this. It's not going to happen. The hell with this. I know I can fix it. So a lot of times you just have to have faith in yourself and you have to believe that you can get out and do this stuff. None of this is rocket science. People have been doing this for 100 years now. Working on cars, making things happen. And that's what I want you guys to learn from this series. I want you guys to see that there are different ways of going about a project. You don't have to order thousands of dollars from whoever it is that you're going to be ordering parts from and stack them up. And you don't have to have 1,000 horsepower car that you're building. And if you can't build that 1,000 horsepower, then you say to hell with it, I'm not going to do it at all. That's not the right approach to take, in my opinion. What all that does is kill your self-esteem. It beats you down. You have to make progress. You have to make steps in the right direction. So you have to set yourself up for success so that you can continue to move forward with your project and be happy with what you're doing. And I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to be a lot happier if you do the majority of this work yourself. Every bit of this can be done yourself. You just have to get out there and do it. Anyway, this has been a very, very long video, and I know you guys don't necessarily come here for the inspiration, but it is what it is, and I just wanted to share that little bit with you. And just stay passionate, guys. Always pursue your passion. Never let anybody beat you down over it. Do your best. And as you can see, my ring light just went out. So I think that's a signal. I think it's time to go. Time to end this. As you can see, this is why I don't do Vodcast podcast style videos, because I can just run my mouth all night long. Anyway, so you have the budget on the car, you have a little bit of a game plan, and now it's just a matter of time. It's a waiting game until we can get the Cobra out of here, and we're going to get started, guys. So hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to be turning some wrenches on the project car. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching.